You're watching a clip from the Club podcast.
Make sure you follow it on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and give it a 5-star review.
So here you go, is a lovely clip from our podcast.
So yeah, have you seen they've got a few issues, Newcastle at the moment?
What's going on?
So FFP wise, they can't really sign anybody that costs more than about 75
well,
million
according
quid.
to these reports and what our lovely mate Jack's put together for us, Newcastle's budget this summer is reportedly limited to £75 million because of financial fair play. The minimal commercial income under Mike Ashley has impacted their movements. That's what happens when you sell all your commercial activities to Sports Direct for a few mugs. And Newcastle have gone beyond their budgets in previous windows, spending 250 million across the last three. They could gamble on bigger sponsorship deals coming to the door quickly. And we've already seen some PIF-owned companies coming in and sponsoring them, which isn't shady at all, honest. Or risk financial fair play sanctions like Man City faced in the early 2010s, which led to the grand total of absolutely nothing. They're obviously targeting the likes of James Maddison. They'll probably need to bring in a little bit of money to be able to make, most of their transfer dream wishes come true, especially with Leicester looking for £50 million for James Maddison. They're also linked with Scott McTominay. I was hoping they'd come in with 30 million for him, but now I'm reading this, I'm less confident about that.
Yeah.
Because if James Maddison's available and Scott McTominay is available,
Yeah, you've got to go for
you're not going
Maddison.
for Scott McTominay.
Maddison feels like a perfect fit for Newcastle, don't you think?
In terms of the profile,
Yeah.
it's just
For everyone.
It's like Tielemans to Villa. It's like that makes sense. Like if Tielemans went to Arsenal or Tielemans went to City or United, you'd think, nah. But to Villa, it just
There
feels
was a time
right.
though. There was a time. Like you remember when Tielemans scored that goal in the cup final?
I don't think he's done himself any justice in the last 12 months.
No, he hasn't had a good season at all. He hasn't had a good season at all. But there
And that's
was
not
a
just because
time.
they've gone down. Yeah, there were.
There was a
Arsenal
time.
were
Yeah.
massively too.
Yeah, there was a time. But with regard to Newcastle, in a way, these rules and this issue that they're facing here could do them a favour because I don't think that they're going about their business in the wrong way anyway. I don't think there is a desire for them to go about their business in the wrong way. But this forces them to do it the correct way, build properly, lay down foundations, make sure that the building is structurally set before you do anything, before you instill.
Have we seen, though, with... I don't want to get into the ins and outs and all these kind of things of it, but have we not seen, the Premier League don't really do anything? Could Newcastle not think, Man City get away with it? You know what I mean? Why not just spend an extra 100 million? Who's going to stop us?
Yeah, I don't know, mate.
Do you know what I mean?
On that,
the precedent being set at the moment is the Premier League are handing out medals to people that have got 115 charges from us.
Yeah.
We've shown that we'll let it get dragged through the mud and, delayed so long that ultimately it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Newcastle could very well think, let's do that.
But
They don't seem to be
know
looking
enough
to do
about
that.
this, right? But would it not be, if it's your money, if down the line you think it could go really wrong,
Yeah.
You're stripped of your titles, your team are relegated. It's your investment, isn't it?
Also, as dodgy as those deals are that City have, they have those deals there. To show that, we just brought in this money, though they haven't really. Who do you think Newcastle should sign, and how do
Madison.
we've been poking by the way, poking the beehive of at St James's Park in the last couple of weeks with our clips. We had you saying Newcastle, Sunderland are bigger than Newcastle.
Yeah, they went mad.
Us saying that.
How'd it look today?
We didn't even say Eddie Howe would leave. We suggested.
No, and do you know what that came off?
Possibly.
It was weird because all that was a conversation. You know how Nagelsmann got sacked by Bayern Munich?
Yeah.
That was basically Bayern Munich going, everything's great, but there might be a problem further down the road. Therefore, let's discuss it now.
Yeah.
That's all that was. We just kind of went, oh, maybe there'll be a problem. We thought maybe there could be a problem. Maybe it was only a sort of hypothetical thing. They went mad. The Sunderland thing, I mean, look, I don't even think it's that. If you think that they've been about for not far off 150 years, right? I'd say for 120 years, Sunderland have been a bigger club. For 30 years, Newcastle have been a bigger club.
Yeah.
That's true. For the last 35 years, Newcastle have probably been more significant. But
I think there's no
for
doubt.
the rest of football, Sunderland were.
Yeah.
And they've gone mad.
And people like to remind us, football didn't start in 1992.
I know, but I don't even think they did go mad. I'm scared to talk about Newcastle now. Also, my missus is from up there. I've got to spend a bit of time in that neck of the woods.
Scared. I think it's fine.
Do you think?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll be all right. I'll be all right.
I know. Don't let them running around with their tops off scare you.
But in terms of what they should do this season, I think James Maddison is like the perfect fit for them because he's a player who a lot of people think should play for England. He's on the cusp of starting for England, really.
Yeah, his goals and assists record. I know,
he can be a one-man team.
Tielemans, I don't think has come out of that Leicester team in the relegation with looking good.
No, Maddison don't stink. Maddison at times in the season that's just gone where they went down. At times earlier in the season, in fact, there was a game against United. I think they did get beat. But he was the only player in the team. He was the only threat.
Ridiculous goal creation.
Yeah.
Scoring goals himself, especially when you look at some of their leading figures. Jamie Vardy's, not got it in his legs anymore. Yeah. Johnny Evans has been injured for most of the season. They've had hardly any of their senior figures, and he did step up. So I suppose he kind of fits in with what is going on with Eddie Howe at the moment.
Yeah, look, I think he would be a great signing because of what he would bring on the pitch. I also think he's quite befitting of Newcastle. When you think about players that they loved over the years, they loved Peter Beardsley, the way that he played football. They loved Hatem Ben Arfa. They loved David Ginola.
Yeah.
Certain players, they get the Gallagher off their seat. And I think James Maddison is
I think it could be time for them. We're talking about FFP, you're going to have to sell to buy, bring in money and all that. Someone like Saint Maximin, I think is someone that's not going to... Oh. Is he really Champions League level? I don't think so, personally. And you could replace the magic that he does bring and the excitement that he does bring with someone like Maddison that's actually brings goals and assists as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And level that up as well in terms of FFP wise, I suppose. They've kind of got the right back you need for Champions League football in Trippier. Mm-hmm. They've got some good defenders. They've got a goalkeeper, some idiot said was player of the season. I don't agree with that, but he's very good. So where else apart from Maddison do you think, with this little bit of money they've got,
I think the midfield could still do. Yeah, I think the midfield could still do with some replenishments because I think there's goals in the team. They're very miserly at the back.
Isaac's more to come from him. Wilson
can score.
Maybe
goals.
I know Maddison is a creator from the middle. Maybe a wide player. If you get rid of someone like Saint Maximin, a wide player.
Yeah, I think they could do. I think if. Do you know what they could do with actually when you think about that team and Eddie Howe and the club? I know what they need. I just thought about this on the spot. They need somebody who's properly Champions League. Somebody who is Champions League.
Who's that?
Maybe he's won it. I'm thinking. I think that the club, they're raw and they're new, aren't they, in terms of this journey that they're on. Eddie Howe, Champions League. Newcastle United, not for a long time Champions League. A lot of these players, Champions League, not really.
Bring back Asprilla.
Somebody who is a signing... sometimes you bring someone in. The way, Thiago Silva came into Chelsea.
Yeah.
And Chelsea won the Champions League. We signed Thiago Silva from Paris Saint-Germain. He landed at Chelsea. And he was a huge part as to why a very young team, Tammy Abraham, Reece James, Mason Mount, why that team won the Champions League. Thiago Silva was a huge reason why. A player like that. A player who could come in.
Who is it?
I don't know. You asked me who they needed, and I was going to say only Maddison.
Is it like you potentially suggested half a little bit? Maybe
I
don't. They should sack Eddie Howe without suggesting.
I didn't even say that. I didn't even say that, mate. It's why I've turned the. I never go on there. I never ever have a look on that Twitter. It's a nightmare.
Yeah, don't.
No, I didn't. And then somebody put it in a group. I was like, hang on, I'll have a look.
Yeah, that was horrible. God. I was glad I wasn't.
Oh God.
But yeah, who's that player?
Who is? Okay, look. Champions League final. Who's okay? Gundogan. Player like that. A player who could leave. A player who could leave, who is available, who would elevate not only the playing ability, but just the know-how. When we spoke quite a lot about what Zinchenko and Jesus would take to Arsenal. Newcastle need a player like that.